Welcome back to Villain Deku. If you remember what happened in the last episodes, basically, it's very simple. Melissa Shield was able to still have a bit of her regular personality. She had a plan to basically break free, but she succeeded basically in the last episode. And on top of that, Deku was planning something and also doing other things in the process. UA has now had a more sophisticated plan this time around, since they told Nezu about this, and since this is before a certain event, Sir Night-Eye hasn't died, so he's alive around this time. Second thing is, Deku killed Overhaul, and then used a new creation of his named Bloody Rose to wipe out all of the Yakuza. So all of them are dead. They died. They died pretty brutally in the last episode. So I recommend go and watch that and hear how they died. But just gonna add this a little bit. There's not gonna be any images because for some videos I don't want to do images for two reasons. Number one, I want to do an audio one where I just tell you what's going on, try to describe what's going on, and the only times I'm ever going to show you an image is when I can't tell you or describe it in a way where it'll make sense. You got that? Yeah? Alright then. Since that's the only bit I had to say, like, subscribe, and comment, whatever, and let's get into the story. Basically, where we cut to is Melissa Shield as she's sitting there planning. How does she escape in this point? Because she basically knocked out Mei Hatsume, the, evil version of that character. And, well, she's sitting there contemplating, thinking, talking a little bit out loud as she says, okay, how can I escape? How can I escape? I know there's a few entrances and exits and all that crap, but there's literally a fucking shit ton of machines on every exit, and the only person they let leave is freaking the Mechanist, or Deku, or whatever we call him at this point. How do I get out of here? Because there's what could I use? Then after she says that, she walks up to the computer. It's a very big, wide computer. It kind of looks like those. It looks like the Batman computer. There you go. That, except for being black, but that's the only difference. And she opens it up and looks around, seeing what could help her escape or help her get around the robots. As she's going through all the inventions of this little, psycho, she found one, and it's a smaller mech suit type of thing, and she notes that in her head, and this is what she's thinking. I can use that to fight some of these things. But what else do I have? What else is my options? Oh, there's a bunch of grenades here. Ooh, even a grenade launcher. You gotta love that. A shotgun that shoots projectiles but explode on impact, also setting the target on fire. Dang, this little psycho came up with so many interesting weapons that she already made. I wonder though, did she add them all to the robots themselves, or are these blueprints for just weapons that she was going to put on the robots but I guess didn't? And then after that little thought of Melissa Shield, she decided to take a little bit more of a look in the files of the computer, finding an old video file of old footage showing basically Mei being, brainwashed and turning evil. So that's when Melissa Shield says, oh, so she was fully brainwashed. Don't think for her there's any reversal. Doesn't even look like she had any good in her at all. Maybe a very small, maybe a very small, I don't know. Then that's when Melissa Shield walks over, lifting up the unconscious Mei, opening one of her eyes to see if it's still red, and it's completely still red, by the way. But that's when she just lets her flop back onto the floor. And that's when Melissa Shield decides to go to the armory with all those new inventions that some look like prototypes and others look almost completely finished. And Melissa is going in there for two different reasons. But for right now, we get to see her just walking into the room, and well, there was a few robots in there, but they look like they're deactivated. They look like they're still being worked on. Like if these are prototypes for a new type of robot for the Mechanist. So, Melissa Shield walks over and inspects all the equipment that's there. She picks up the unique shotgun, putting it on a satchel thing so she can have it on her back, while also picking up the grenades and grenade launcher just in case, because you never know when you need a lot of firepower. And that's when she gets in the mech suit, seeing that it has, well, sticky bombs. So, in the room, she turns and shoots a few all over the place as she just starts doing that for a bit. When she gets finished with that, she sees the garage door that the room is connected to, because, you know, there's always bigger equipment going in and out. So she walks over and just opens it, basically. And she's walking out this time with a lot of force, because she's not going to get captured. She's not going to get re-brainwashed. She wants to escape. She wants to go home. She does not want to deal with this ever again. But she continues on her way, and when she gets halfway, the mech that she's in says, "Error, cannot explode devices if too far away." Then she looks at it and says, "Oh shit. Well, then, dang it. You know what? Screw it." After she said that, she took a few steps back, blew up the bombs, which made a very loud explosion, shaking the whole building for a second. Then the alarms go off as she says, "Well, I guess I gotta do this Rambo style." Then after she said that, that's when we get to a big fight between her trying to escape and what basically is going on in the whole entire thing. And I mean, it's very intense. It's very, I can really say a lot about this, but as she's walking, she's kind of like forced to walk because it is still a prototype of a suit. So luckily for her, she does have a minigun on the left arm, a rocket launcher type thing on the upper right shoulder. She continues walking, and when Deku's bots are coming in, she guns them down pretty quickly. A good amount of them. Some of them do get her off guard, so she has to fight them with her, suit's hands. But as it's going on, she's able to actually crush one of their heads, and with the damaged bot, she throws it at a bunch of other ones to stumble them or, distract them for a second as she guns them down. But she continues walking, having to do this a lot of times. And when she finally is able to get to an exit area or close to the exit, she realizes there's two gates. So she has to open both to leave. But the bots were clever. They destroyed the control panel. So what she has to do now, you might be thinking? Well, she goes up and uses the mechanical strength of the suit. So she digs her hands underneath and lifts the gate open. But while she's doing this, she realizes she's pretty exposed. What do I mean? Well, she can't fight back while she has to hold the door open. She's practically exposed. So while that's going on, all the robots around are just shooting at her the whole time. But she's able to get past the first gate, and when she gets to the second gate, she's about to open it, and when she does and turns around, robot pulls out a rocket, hitting her, destroying the suit, but she has to eject. And that's when the gate opens up and they come out to try to grab her, take her back, But that's when she uses the grenade launcher and these custom grenades Some that freezes some of the bots, some that malfunction them, others to like set them on fire, which didn't really do anything because they're robots. And well, in this case, she's just using what she got. But at one point, she decides to do the Joestar family technique and just run away. So that's all she did. She just is running and running for her life, as she is currently thinking, as she says, oh my god, these son of a bitches. Like, what did she make them as? I remember the first time these things weren't that tough. Now they're more tough than before. And that's what she said while she was, thinking it, basically. But she continues running as a bunch of them still chase after her to try to get her back. Because, well, their master commands it. And right when she is about to, get pretty far, a few bots get in her way, she uses her grenade launcher to destroy a few of them, but one of the bots was able to get close, destroy the grenade launcher. But then what she did was the most badass move thing possible. She uses the satchel part of her bag that was carrying the ammo for it and, rolls underneath the bot, ties it up like Star Wars, but all in like a quick succession. And when the robot looks down, she throws the bag at it. It catches it, a little confused, and that's when she pulls out her shotgun, shoots the bag, causing a chain reaction and causing all the grenades to explode all at once. And when this happens, the bot is like half frozen, half on fire, and half malfunctioning, and just half of it just shredded as well. So it's just there looking destroyed. But she continues running until she gets to an edge of the cliff, seeing there's a road that leads downwards. And right when she thought she was gonna get free, right when she was on the edge of freedom, that's when Deku flies down in his giant mech suit, laughing as he says, "Oh, you thought I didn't notice this little rebellion? Did you really think you were gonna win this time? I had a feeling this was going to happen." And that's when we cut to Melissa Shields' mind as she says, You bastard. You played me as a fool." And that's when Deku says, "Well, yeah, I really expected this. I ain't stupid. I had a feeling you were much, much different than how I did it to May. But in the end, that's when," and then right then and there, that's when All Might appeared, punching the robot far back, or what he perceives as a robot. But that's when we're gonna stop there, and we're gonna go a little bit back into the past. I'm gonna say one day before all of this was happening. So that's when we get back to the conference, because that's when the conference, its time period of their plan. And around that time of when they were, discussing all this stuff and talking about how they're gonna deal with this mechanist. So during the conference, that's when All Might's like, I feel like there's probably, and then right when he said that, that's when they get an alert of the mechanist doing something of the sense of stealing more technology. But also, it looks like he's about to, free another criminal. Well, so far that they know, that's what it looks like, It looks like he's about to free another criminal. So the heroes actually do rush to this one because, again, obvious reasons, UA, wants their payback. They want their payback. They don't want to be, done dirty like this again, basically. Then as they are rushing over there, and, when they basically get there, they see what's going up. A lot of robots attacking, anyone who's trying to stop them from stealing this very, very expensive power source. Very experimental as well. And this is when Sir Night-Eye takes the opportunity to try and get to one of the robots that are mostly carrying the main thing, while all the other heroes are distracting all the other bots. When this happens, they are fighting basically, and he runs up, able to jump high enough and touch one of the robots on the leg. Why on the leg? Well, it's because the other ones were flying away with the experimental power source. And after what happened, this is when, after the battle and they destroy the remaining bots, they get to look at Night Eye as he says, let's take a look of where they are going and where they're currently located. But then after that moment, that's when we cut back to what was going on, as Deku and All Might are fighting it out. As Deku's like, it's you again? And All Might looks at him as he says, I will defeat you this time, Mechanist, so you can harm no one else ever again. And on top of that, where is Mei Hatsume? I'm here to save her from your clutches. And Deku is taken aback as he says, really? Did you work on that one in the shower? Like, come on, man. That is the most classiest, like almost over the top line you have ever done in your whole entire life, man. Like, for real. It's humorous that you would do that to me. But I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be able to get her. And besides, who's the one with a mech suit? You or me? And that's when All Might says, you really think that piece of junk is gonna help you defeat me? And besides, if you're gonna hit anybody with a line like that, you better have something that would really back it up. Then after that, they both go at it, fighting it out. And I mean, it's a real spectacle. Deku using his giant mech arms to just like attack All Might with, and All Might, just coming back with the haymakers, And while this is going on, Deku dodges out of the way from All Might and shooting some rockets at him. It does push All Might back, but he does jump out of the rockets' way, where they explode and do create a crater where they're fighting at. And they just keep going at it, as All Might is not trying to kill the Mechanist. He's more like wants to arrest him, wants to find out why he did what he did, basically find out what is with this basically crazy person. But the Mechanist, no, he wants to kill All Might outright. He wants to he got to the point where he sees himself more justified and seeing that the world is so chaotic that, well, he wants to rule it. He wants to rule the world. But right now, he has to beat up All Might. And as they're going at it, Deku's basically using a lot of missiles and using the giant mech suit to punch at All Might, to kick at All Might and everything. And All Might's countering it with a few Detroit smashes and a few of his where he kind of does a reference to another show. If you don't remember what that is, he crosses his arms as an X, goes forward, slashes them, and it actually does damage somehow. That's what All Might does, basically. And All Might does a few more extra things as well, still doing some punches to launch himself up in the air because he's trying to hit the upper parts of the mech. Because he has a feeling that where Deku is located in that mech, it's in the center part. It's not going to be in the head or the arms or, the lower half. It just doesn't make sense. So, All Might's being smart. While this is going on, the heroes, the ones that were in the meeting, actually were able to get inside Deku's base. And the heroes that got inside were Mr. Aizawa, Midnight, President Mike, Nezu. Why is he joining them? Well, he's smart. He can hack into stuff. It makes logical sense. Sir Night Eye. And I'm going to say it right now. Mirio's with them, with the big three. The reason why they're there is because, well, number one, secretly, Sir Night Eye wanted Mirio there, because one for all that type of stuff. So that reasoning alone. And also, Mirio didn't want to go there by himself. He wanted his friends because, well, they're great together, and the other two are already good heroes. But because of this, they were able to convince Ryukyu, which is the dragon hero, to come and help them on this mission. So she's there too. And we're gonna also say that freaking, like, that, Cementos is there as well. So, he's kind of opening up the building a bit, because some of it's made out of cement while other halves of it are made out of metal. And they are fighting a lot of robots, as Nezu says. Come on, we need to keep going forward. I was able to hack his, plan map room for this, details of this whole base. So, and right when Nezu says that, that's when they hear an evil laughter. A bunch of monitors turn on, and it's Mei laughing like a maniacal maniac, as she's saying, "Oh, really? You came here to this place, to his home? Oh, trust me, we're gonna have a lot of fun with my babies." And then right after she said that, that's when a bunch of robots come off the walls, like if they were locked up in there to charge. Some that were regular combat, while others, came out like a tank. And when this happened, the heroes went at it. Freaking Midnight, surprisingly, breaking a bunch of robots. She did it with her whip, kind of like having to fight a few of them while some were shooting at her, and some tried to charge her, and then that's when she kind of did a clothesline maneuver. So hold her whip out, made it wrap around one robot, and then when another one charged, she moved out of the way, lifting up the line, and then went right through the other robot's head, and in consequence ripping off the other robot's head, the one that she had the whip wrapped around. And on top of that, some of these heroes are fucking strong as heck anyway, so I'm surprised they could actually destroy robots. And again, Mr. Aizawa, the freaking ninja master that he's just going at it with his support weapon. And surprisingly, Ryukyu has, turned into her dragon form, and she's doing a lot. And I mean a lot. She's going at it with her other hand with the basically metal that she has for her other hand of her support item. She's clawing at some of these bigger, tougher robots. While that's going on, the big three are going at it with their team moves. So Mirio's still phasing through stuff, but in the process punching some robots down, or more kind of disabling them by over here. And then when they turn and try to shoot them, that's when Nejire would come in using more of her blast attacks on them, so kind of destroying them when they were distracted. Or Tamaki, which is one of the members of the big three, which he's a scared boy, and whatever he eats, he gets the abilities of those animals, using claws and a little bit of other animals to make himself more stronger, basically. So he's just going at it, cutting some of these robots in half, while also kicking some of the robots into the wall, leaving a dent, a big dent. The robot's stuck in there. And while that's going up, that's when we have President Mike doing his fucking thing, using his power to amplify his voice and destroying a good amount of them, even destroying a Juggernaut one, which the Juggernaut robots, they are big. They're not freakishly big, but they are big. They're meant to punch people who can punch them, that type of deal. But that's when Mr. Cementos, uses cement and just grabs more of these robots, crushing them with the cement. And that's when we're also getting, sorry if I'm not talking too loud though, by the way, but still, that's when we also get more heroes from UA, and also just some other heroes that you may recognize who are here and that are helping, because again, the Mechanist has done some crimes, so these heroes are the ones who are willing to come and help. And they were basically squad B, and they're in a different point of the facility. So they're not with our guys that are going up right now. And the ones who are going through this other side is the number 2 hero, Endeavor, because again, he doesn't want his prize, his very precious project to get dealing with this pushover of a villain. And on top of that, if his project gets killed because of these villain attacks, he can't raise him to replace All Might. So, obvious. And we're gonna say Mirko's here. We're gonna say Best Genius is here. And we're gonna say I'm gonna say Kimari Woods is here. If you don't remember who he is, he's the guy who can make wood from himself, like literally. So they're here, and when they're going through that side, that's when May's screen comes on and she laughs and saying, "More heroes? Oh, you have come to face your doom." And, that's when she smiles and all that stuff and just basically looking crazy. And then more robots come down from the ceiling. Endeavor is burning them, obviously, but he's doing it like really intensely because he's kind of pissed off because of the Mechanist mostly, and also All Might, but still. And he's just like going at it, throwing some flame attacks on them, like basically doing like some fireball type attacks. And like at one point he even shoots a fire type shot and it just goes through and hitting another robot behind a previous one. Then that's when Mirko's going in and she's like just doing most of her attacks, kicking some of these robots' heads off, or kicking them in a way where it's like on the top of the head, crushing the head in and putting it into the lower, like in the midsection of the body of the robot. And Kimari Woods, yes, he brought his own fibers because he knows these are robots. They don't really have that much fiber on them. So he's using these very tough fibers to like restrain some of them to the point where he's just crushing them with the fiber. And that's when we have Kimari Woods just coming in and like making like a bunch of his wood sharp enough to like pierce through the robot to shut them down and stuff. But then we cut back to All Might and Deku's fight as Deku is using his minigun that is on this giant mech suit that he has to shoot at All Might, while All Might is running really fast to avoid it. And that's where we're going to leave it off, everybody. I know. It's very short. Usually Villain Deku's longer, I know. But the reason why it's short this time is because the fact being that I just wanted to make it shorter just a little bit because I don't want to like have the story get too long. I don't want all the videos to be too long so then people can't understand it, or they just leave way too early because it's like way too long, or they can barely hear me, or whatever type of excuse. I'm just letting you know I'm just going to shorten them down to like around 20 something, make it more restricted on myself, and also force it so then I have to tell a better story. That's mostly the second reason why. So it's not me trying to be lazy or anything. I'm just letting you know that's the real reason. So I'm just trying to restrict myself intentionally to make myself tell stories more better again. But that's all I have to say. And if you stuck to the last bit of what I had to say, thank you. And also like, subscribe, go check out the other what ifs. That's all I have to say.